Our news correspondent Richard Chambers joins us now. So Richard, the President and the Taoiseach leading the tributes here.
Yeah, very much so. President Michael D. Higgins, who of course met Pope Francis 5 times across the duration of his presidency. They were privately struck up a fondness, have very similar views on things like the pursuit of peace, climate justice, as well as equality. President Higgins in a statement today saying the pontiff sought to show in the most striking and moving of ways the extraordinary importance of the spiritual as a powerful source of global ethics in the challenges of contemporary life. He also reflected, of course, on that 2018 visit to Ireland, saying that Pope Francis spoke of the scandal of child abuse, including in the church, and its consequences for victims and families. On such matters, President Higgins said, and on others, such as attitudes towards women and those of the LGBTQ plus community within the church, Pope Francis, he said, sought to play a positive role. Taoiseach Micheál Martin today reflecting on the legacy of Pope Francis too.
And in a world which is turbulent and where there has been shocking conflict, I think he was a very pure voice of love and mercy, and he got the fundamentals right in terms of urging people to cease conflict, to cease war. I think more fundamentally his legacy is that I think he opened up the church, set in train a journey of change that will still manifest itself in the time ahead. And in Ireland, in respect, I think he did deal with the issues of child sexual abuse within the Catholic Church, acknowledged his own failings in that regard.
Well, faith leaders here, of course, too, have been mourning Pope Francis, reflecting not just on his 2018 visit to Ireland, but also on his visit here in the 1980s as a member of the Jesuit order. Members of the Church of Ireland, Jewish representatives, as well as figures in Islam and others, all paying tribute to Pope Francis's outreach to other faiths. But for the Catholic Church in Ireland, they say this was a different Pope who challenged leaders around the world, who forsook a lot of the traditional trappings of the papacy. They say that will be part of his legacy.
What positive forces did I unleash? How much peace did I bring? And these are really, really important questions, and I imagine he probably asked those questions of himself as well. So I'd like to think that the good Lord in his mercy will be saying, look, well done, Francis, well done, Jorge, come and inherit your reward.
I think that's why people loved him, that he spoke their language. You know, even those phrases about the field hospital, the smell of the sheep, people could identify with those phrases when he preached the gospel. And that freshness, I think, was critically important to his ministry.
So both of the archbishops there, they'll be attending the funeral of Pope Francis, which we expect to take place next weekend. Also, people within the Church in Ireland pointing to the role of Cardinal Kevin Farrell, originally from Drimna in Dublin, who's currently the Camerlengo. He has an important role, effectively running the day-to-day now in the Vatican over the coming days until the election of the next Pope.
A Pope different from his predecessors. Was he really? Certainly
was in terms of outreach and outlook. He certainly spoke a more compassionate and open tone for the Catholic Church, as Dean said in that report there, a message of openness towards members of the LGBT community, the role of women in the Church, as well as some of the crimes of the Church in the past, particularly in terms of sex abuse. But it wasn't really met with any real change in terms of church doctrine. That did not stop, however, some in the Church from labelling him as a disaster. Some cardinals very against Pope Francis's actions as the leader of the Catholic Church. But overall, he is being seen as a progressive Pope, somebody who did try to seek to change the way things were done in the Vatican, as you have been hearing from the very first day, not living in the papal apartments, going for a plain white cassock when he was unveiled as the Pope all those years ago. Tony Flannery, of course, the founder of the Association of Catholic Priests here in Ireland, says his legacy will be one as a man who did change things.
He has left a fairly divided church, which we will probably see coming out clearly when the conclave starts. Yes, he was challenging in all sorts of ways. And now, you see, even people on the more liberal end, like myself, maybe especially women, would be disappointed with him that he didn't do more to bring women into ministry. He opened debate in the church. Like for years, it was dangerous to say anything even slightly unorthodox in the church, as I learned myself. But will the next Pope continue it or will he scrap it?
So for the time being, until we reach a point in the next number of weeks where there will be a conclave to elect a new pope, there will be 9 days of mourning in the Vatican. His funeral, as we say, expected to take place towards the end of this coming week. But he will be mourned around the world. A lot of people will be debating his legacy, about whether or not he did live up to that legacy or that reputation as being a very progressive pope, a moderniser in a church of tradition.